When I was 14, I was friends with a guy named George. He owned the local comic book shop, and since I was a huge comic book nerd, I spent most of my afternoons there. It was the start of a rather crazy hunt, and my parents weren't exactly happy about it, but George was a really cool guy. Most guys his age wouldn't be happy about hanging out with high school freshmen, though. You see, George used to work at Fox Family Channel, but was fired when it was bought by Disney. He then wound up buying the shop that he currently owns now. But before he was fired, he managed to make friends with a lot of people in the industry, including the creators of a TV show called Anaconda. I had seen a few episodes myself, but I really wasn't a big fan. Well, one day, George got a CD in the mail at the store. I was there when he had opened up the parcel. It was a simple computer soft plastic CD case, like the one you'd get with a demo from a magazine. He popped the CD into the store computer and opened it up. I hope it isn't porn, he muttered. The usual intro for the show started. He looked at me and shrugged and checked the wrappings in which the case came in. It's blank. It didn't come in the mail. It was dropped in by somebody else, he said. And the episode started. It showed Johnny alone in what seemed to be his room. He seemed to be crying, but the sound was off. George checked the computer, but everything was functional. The video was silent. Johnny walked out of the room. Two people were there, one with his uncle's face and Johnny's hair, and the other a woman. I remember that his parents didn't appear on the regular episode, so I assumed these people were just them. His dad started yelling at Johnny. He seemed to be getting more desperate. His mom smacked him and started to yell as well. His dad pointed to his room, but Johnny didn't move. He glared at his parents and went into what seemed to be into the kitchen. He took a knife out of the drawer. I remember George swearing under his breath as Johnny walked back and started to viciously stab his parents. Once they were surely dead, a woman with the same face as his mom walked in. She seemed to be stuttering and shaking as she saw the bodies. Johnny put the knife in her hand and forced her to stab her own throat. The woman, who I assume was the aunt, bled out and Johnny sat crying in the corner. A newspaper shown saying, "Double murder and suicide." Johnny is shown with his grandma and uncle, who are both crying. The screen goes black, and 6 months later, in white letters appear. Johnny is shown playing softball with the others, Angela, Gina, and Gordy. Johnny hits a ball and it flies off, breaking a window of a scary abandoned-looking house. The other kids start yelling at Johnny. Once again, he seemed to get desperate. Angela pointed to the street as if to tell him to go away. He didn't move and started glaring. The episode cut off at this point without any credits. George sent me home, told me he was going to close the shop early and stick around. He later explained to me, the crew had made this episode as a joke. An intern that didn't know about it took it home and showed it to his younger cousin. The kid was traumatized and had to spend years in therapy, but he never really truly found out who had dropped it into his mailbox.
In fear and surprise, as your eyes widen, your mouth goes dry with each battered breath. You try to scream, your mind begs to leave, glued to your computer screen. The killers they slash, the tapes burn and crash. The cartridge you bought will be your final haunt. The rituals of hate will seal your fate. The tears you shed will be from the fear-gripping horror-driven nightmarish gore-filled, terrorizing, hateful, burning, violent, rage-inducing, knife-slashing, blood-splattering, silent screams. Only time will tell if you will escape this online hell. Your horror-filled obsessions will come with its own regressions. Your pathetic screams will not be heeded in any way, because your nightmares will come at any day.